Hello, this is Positive Vibes Enterprise. I am Tom Goodwin. This is Michelle Ronquillo.
Hi, everybody.
And today's subject has to do with solitude.
Yes.
And a lot of times, well, you see, the thing is with spiritual development is you have to develop yourself. It's up to you. Nobody else can develop you for you. So a lot of times you have to separate yourself from other people so that you're only dealing with yourself, so that you can best able to figure out what you need to do to develop yourself further.
Well, you come in alone, which I'm going to take time out to say happy birthday, Tom. Yay.
66.
Today.
It's in very good condition because of my training. my independent type training that only I can do for myself.
That's right. That's right. You come in alone and you go out alone. And so in that solitude, in that moment that you realize that even though we need connections are very, very vital. But we also have to make the connections within ourselves and make sure that everything is not disconnected to those solitude passions, those dreams, those goals, the confidence that's needed to plug in to other people in the outside world. It comes from and always starts alone.
And the thing is, there's so much in the way of certain mindsets and certain groups that try to influence you and take away your individual autonomy. We live in a world in which a lot of people are followers, that they don't really work to develop their independent self that well, that they just tend to they just love the comfort of having a whole lot of people that have similar views, and that they don't really have to think for themselves that much. But it doesn't work to their benefit because they don't develop that spiritual strength to do their own thing and to get the most out of themselves if they behave that way.
Also, it leads to a disconnection within, that you're always trying to fill a hole. You're always trying to fill a void. So understanding that in that solitude comes the concept of connecting yourself to your understandings, your feelings, your emotions, your traumas that you faced, and you're going into a forward motion of healing. That all comes in a solitude moment.
And the people that achieve the most aren't the ones that are following the crowd. They're the people that are independent, and they believe in themselves, and their energy is strong enough that they can go and get the most out of their individual unique abilities. You can't get the most out of your unique abilities if you're always following the crowd and you're not focusing on what makes you different from other people and what is unique value in you.
Yeah, and I think another thing that needs to be said is too much solitude leads to disconnection, not only of inside, but outside. So there is a fine line of the solitude that we're talking about. You build confidence, you get to meditate. That quietest part of meditations when you are connecting to a higher power and understanding your spiritual connection of self. It goes into gratitude. It goes into empathy for self. Afflictions, mercy on self, letting go of shame. All those come in solitude, but you can't stop from being connected to people just because you've been hurt by people.
And some connection with people are positive because they're not trying to force you to conform to them, and they're helpful in letting you know special things about you. In other words, some people treat you as an autonomous individual rather than just a member of a flock that should just conform and get along because they think that's the best for you.
Yeah, so it's important to understand too much solitude as unhealthy, and not enough is unhealthy as well. So you have to find the balance spiritually to understand that in solitude, you can literally be okay with being by yourself. People always run from themselves And where does that always get them? Right back into solitude, right back out facing themselves, to really focus, to say, hey, I was lost and now I'm on my way. And that all comes from those moments of solitude.
And we can learn a lot from other people spiritually, but but you only can learn from the type of people that have done their own personal development, the individual personal development, so that they have looked at spiritual theories or whatever as to how well they can help individuals to get the most out of themselves.
Correct. You want somebody that's giving a positive rap of enhancing what you're doing in a spiritual.
You don't want somebody just saying, oh, I'm a channel for some kind of other energy and I can give you all this stuff.
Yeah, no.
You want the person that says, this is what I've tried and I've found works for me. Maybe it will work for you in your own personal development.
And that's what we're saying too. And with Tom creating his wonderful system, and the fact that he's been doing it today for 66 years. It's amazing that he's been here blessing others. But it took a lot of time where he was in solitude, that he was developing things. And just like everything, like even in plants, they start in the ground. They start as a seed in darkness, in solitude. Same with us. We have to find the balance to make sure that just because we've gotten hurt by other people, we're not going to go into solitude and stay there. We have to come in solitude, fill ourselves up, fill our confidence back up, fill our joys back up, and then try again.
Well, a lot of the reasons why I have done things on my own so much is because I get so intense when I'm channeling in on these things that everybody stays clear of me. And that's sort of like is how I get my solitude, is because I get so much passion and desire to achieve certain things that other people just cannot handle it. And I mean, it's just that I was born differently able with unique abilities, and not a lot of people, have to take on, what I mean. A lot of people have it easier than me, but the people that achieve the most are the people that overcome the most. So I tend to identify with the people that really struggled, that didn't fit in. When you don't fit into the world, you end up having to, you almost have to do everything for yourself because you don't get much cooperation from the world.
Right, but in that isolation, in that moment, it's important to always know that when the time comes, like Tom, he has a big tribe with a lot of people that love him, support him. He's not in solitude anymore. He has a support system that is there for him. But in those moments when you are isolated, remember that when it's time to be reconnected and connect with others, to allow yourself open-mindedness to those times where it's time to be around people, it's time to get a little bit social, it's time to interact and be okay with whatever kind of character you are. Just know that everybody that really love you will not matter. It won't matter what kind of character you are, because we love the person that is inside.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about today was that I've gone from, it's sort of like going to one extreme helps you to handle the other extreme. So with me, I found that when I've been around people that, have a similar focus as me, I can be extremely sociable. So I can take the same extreme that separates me from people and use it to connect with people. So it's almost like you go to one extreme and you get good at handling the one extreme. It makes you better able to handle the opposite extreme, because the strength you get from individual spiritual development, it's so readily transferable to being very sociable and connected with people more deeply than anybody else. So you develop one, and it's almost like you have to go back and forth, because you have to interact deeply with people in order to get the feedback to know what you need to explore in yourself. And then you go and you spend a period of exploration in yourself, and then you have to go back and see, what you've done with yourself, how it helps you, deal with the real world and interact with other people more effectively.
Right, right. And also, sometimes in solitude, people don't get the motivation they need to move and connect and do those steps that Tom was just talking about. So it's important to understand whatever it takes to motivate you, whatever it takes to get that passion rolling, to get you out of that isolated type of perception and get you connected with people. Go to groups, go to art museums, whatever it is that's going to get you into a social type of mentality, and then really push that motivation. They say fake it till you make it. And some rehab and recovery groups. And so it's true. So when you look at it, when you're laying in bed just trying to get the motivations to get up, fake it, push it. Make yourself do the things that maybe you're not feeling like doing, but it's going to move you out of that isolated state, out of that solitude state, and get you into an active state, where inactive is the connections in spirituality. It's always in the actions. It's always in the right now actions.
And what happens a lot in our society is that we have all these locked-in type beliefs, and they work against people being autonomous and thinking for themselves and developing better spiritual theories or whatever that will work better for themselves. They end up, it's like society brainwashes people, it programs them all to be a certain way or whatever, or according to some ideology that may not have ever had much rationality behind it, but somehow or other it got accepted. Right. But we can develop practical spiritual theories that work in the real world. We need to. We can advance in the spiritual area similar to what science has done in recent years, recent centuries, because spirituality has not really developed much because it's still locked in the ancient past.
There's so many people that don't understand the perceptions of the spiritual that will make them understand that even in, for example, addiction comes the behavior changes as well. So it's not just the habit of the addiction, but it's also the habit of the behavior as well. So in understanding the spiritual self inside and the workings and the mechanics of your own spiritual walks is vital to how you're going to react to the outside.
And my astrology system has a lot to do with developing the individual, because that's what it is. It's directed towards individuals. Everybody's chart is different. They may have a chart similar to somebody else born pretty close to them, but then they're going to have different genetics, so the chart's going to work still in an individual way.
Yeah.
So there was always a very strong individual focus to it. And then one of the things about spiritual development, you've got to get away from this idea that anything's perfect. Nothing is perfect. Everything can be improved on. Everything. And we have to think of advanced individual spirits like us as being empowered, as being important, that it's us that make a difference on this earth. We are the spiritual force that make things better on this earth collectively. The collective energy of us spiritually is responsible for exactly why the earth is in the state it's in. It isn't some all-powerful, autocratic type God that's controlling everything. It doesn't work that way. We are actually the main forces in our own reality and in the physical world around us spiritually.
Yeah, so the spiritual needs to...
So I mean, it's not like...
Get it together.
I'm not talking about new ways that we are gods, because that's ridiculous. But what I'm saying is that we are the frontline spirits. We are the ones that meditate. We are the ones that do the work to change things. No other spirit can do the work for us, because we're the ones here. The people that are the spirits that are biologically on this planet are the ones that are impacting this planet. They're the spirits that count on this planet.
Right.
Now, God, as I would define God, would be the spirit of our physical universe. And we have to nurture that spirit. because to me it's more of a reactance bird to how well we treat it. It's very important to us. We have to have a habitat, so therefore we have to have a spirit that makes that habitat work for us. So we need that spirit, and that spirit's vital to us. But if we don't feed that spirit and ensure its health, we will pay the consequences.
Yes.
Because we have what we need. We develop spiritually what we need, and we need a habitat, and every independent component of our reality will have a spirit. It won't be the same as our spirit, but it will have a spirit that sort of like makes it what it is. It maintains what it is. And so a lot of what I'm into is empowering human beings. You can't be empowered unless you have
self-empowerment. Yes.
Yeah, you can't be empowered if you don't have spiritual theories that allow you to be empowered. So the spiritual theory
and beat by the drums of your own drum
and
dance.
And then enable you to handle the pain and struggle and all the duress.
Hey, there's a lot of pain, that's for sure, especially when you're healing that inner trauma inside yourselves that were in the past that affects the behaviors and reactions of yourself.
But you have to be able to overcome that. And what's going to motivate you to overcome it unless you realize how responsible you are for the spiritual well-being around you, and that'll make you really driven to say, I'll put up with all this because look at what we need to change in this world. Look at all the terrible disaster we have in the world, all this pain and all this discomfort that's harming people and destroying them. Just look at all that and then say, well, I can handle a very challenging and painful, but in a positive type sense, training program that'll heal me, because it's pain and healing, but pain and healing is a positive thing. So when you're doing training and you feel the pain of healing, or the pain, you know, like the bodybuilder feels pain and getting stronger, well, there's pain and getting stronger and handling more truth. But that's a positive pain, and that should be motivated by the negative pain that's destroying all these people.
That's right. And we're going to invite all of you in the Houston area. We're starting a weekly meditative walk with Tom. So if you're interested, leave some notes below, and we'll let you know where and when we are going to kick it off, so people can start really seeing in the Houston area what we're talking about healing all that spiritual inner trauma from the past, and meditative walks, and also you can check out Tom's wonderful chart readings from his own personal development, and you can get that information as well. Go ahead and type a little message below, and we'll let you know how you can get your own chart available to you, and Tom can help you on your way in your solitude moments to connect yourself to not only yourself but to other people around you that need the essence of your uniqueness, just like we are thankful for Tom on his birthday, for his uniqueness and all the beautiful blessings that he has here to offer Positive Vibe Enterprise. And everybody that is watching and subscribe, please share. You'll be seeing Tom a lot more doing his walks with more people joining in, and testimonies just like mine of how the meditative walks really help and overcome the spiritual when we need to meditate and get that body releasing that spiritual trauma. It is a very painful but beautiful, refreshing activity that everybody needs to try.
I mean, I don't just develop spiritual theories of things just for the fun of it. I'm a very practical person. I want results in the real world. That's been my focus all along. So therefore, I'm a person of action. So I want to demonstrate things. I want people to try what I've developed and see that it works.
Yes.
I want them to see that my astrology system actually is fantastic in the way it works.
Also, I've been talking to people that are in different states from Houston, California. It's okay. Tom is able to demonstrate and help you, guide you through your own meditative walk. So please don't hesitate to connect with us, because it doesn't matter where you are. Tom will make sure that you'll get your meditative walks properly starting in your daily habits.
We have videos that demonstrated it.
Yes.
On
we have videos, plus you can contact him because with any questions or anything that you would like to talk to him, he's here for you. For all of us.
And I have blogs.
Happy birthday to Tom.
Yeah, and I have blog posts on WordPress, and so I mean I have under Ask for Good and I have all kinds of stuff. In other words, I try to make it as easy as I can. But even if you write everything out, you almost have to demonstrate it, and you almost have to talk about it too, because the spiritual is not that easy to get everything clearly written down about. You really have to deal with people.
Hands-on.
It has to be hands-on, pretty much, to a certain degree.
Even though
you can get quite a bit of pointers from what I've already put out, and then after you get the pointers, it'll be easy for you to ask questions. And I'm very creative because that's what I do, so I'll figure out answers that will make sense, and it'll help me to grow, because whenever I have to respond to something, come up with a new answer, it's a new answer that I now have as a result of your energy. So, I mean, I grow a lot from interacting with other people.
Yes, he does. So bring it on and let's do it. Positive Vibes Enterprise.
Okay, this is Positive Vibes Enterprise. The subject was solitude, and of course we had to deal with the opposite, interacting and cooperating with other people to make a better world. We appreciate you watching.
Yes, subscribe.
We need more viewers. We need people.
Share.
We need word of mouth, because things that are new, and this is new spiritual, even though the ideas may make sense and they may have heard it before, it's new in the sense that you have to live the ideas.
You have to be in the action.
In other words, if you're not acting on it, then it doesn't really count as though it was part of you. It's only new to you when you try it out. It's like a running technique. Until you try it out, you can't really say it's new. So until you have taken on a spiritual idea and seen how that idea enables you to do things, it's really not a new idea to you. It's just an idea you were aware of, but you haven't really, imprinted it in your programming and tested it. And then it's really new when you test it.
So come back next time. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Bye-bye, everybody.